Hi guys, welcome back to iN2IT Oracle's YouTube channel. I am Debbie Dubois.
And I'm Kimberly Arya, the creator of the iN2IT Oracle, the Controversy Tarot, and then now the newest deck, the Zodiac 108, which we're going to be taking a look at today to kind of see what are some of the differences between this and the original iN2IT Oracle deck.
We've got two decks that are seemingly similar, but what you're going to find out is what makes them different. And Arya's going to help break that down, and then I'll, jump in when I can. So we hope you'll stay tuned. Stick around. We've got more coming up.
I've been waiting here for you since the beginning of this universe. You know the world is fading. There's a secret power hidden in your soul. Don't be afraid to use it, 'cause you're the one. You're the one. You're the one. You're the one.
Welcome back, everybody. Arya, are you ready to dive into the Zodiac 108 and talk about some of the features of this beautiful deck that I love so much?
Absolutely. And, you and I have been working with this deck for almost a year now, including the time of creating it. And when we first got the sample deck into our hands, it was such an amazing experience because after having used the iN2IT Oracle for a year, it was so much fun to have a deck that's similar to that, and then get to see how it actually works. And when you're using it, it was actually quite different, and it was exciting and fun. And we've just been using it all the time as our go-to deck for all kinds of questions. So yeah, we're going to take a look at why would a person who maybe already has the iN2IT Oracle also want to get the Z108, or if you're trying to decide which of the two to purchase. This will be some information that will kind of help you make that decision.
And we've got a really nifty setup here. So I'm going to be able to show the desktop, and we're going to kind of just see where this goes, right?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look.
Okay.
So first of all, the iN2IT Oracle and the Zodiac 108 both come in the exact same size of box. And the newest edition of the iN2IT Oracle has 133 cards. And the Zodiac 108 has 132, so they're basically the same size of deck. And if you open up the box, you'll see that there is two compartments, a larger compartment that has a place for the cards to be put, and then the little bag of gemstones that we included to help kind of maintain the high energy of the deck and clear and cleanse it. I had a lot of fun with the gemstones in the Zodiac 108 because I wanted to choose a gemstone that was representative of each of the 12 signs of the zodiac. And so on the box itself, we have the list of all the different types of gemstones that will be in your little bag. And that's super fun. Now, there's more space in there. So if you wanted to add a few gemstones of your own, you totally can do that as well. So that's kind of a fun aspect of both of these decks.
Yeah, I love them.
So as far as the deck itself, if anyone is familiar with the iN2IT Oracle, it's originally based on the Lenormand. So the first 36 cards are Lenormand. And then after that, I expanded on it by adding a lot of other kind of pieces and parts. But the main thing that I like about Lenormand for card reading is that it's very object-based, but the object can be either literal or usually it's more symbolic. And then from that one object, you can go into all kinds of what are the energies of that object? And then when it shows up in a reading, it can, have like keywords and key concepts that then you can bring into your reading. And just like the iN2IT Oracle, I have words and keywords, some key phrases on the cards, which make it so simple for this deck to be used by anyone, even without any prior reading experience. You can just I've actually had family members who know nothing at all about tarot or oracle card readings. And we all sat down and shuffled the deck, and then everybody was taking turns doing a reading on something. And it was so much fun hearing someone who doesn't know anything about card reading just give it a try. And they were crazy fun, accurate. So it's really the kind of deck that anybody can use, even without prior experience. But of course, even people who use oracle cards a lot really enjoy these decks because they have so many cards in one deck that the voice and the capability of that deck to give, lots of insights on any question that you want and very specific insights is really amazing.
Yeah. When I was one of the first people that had the great fortune of working with the iN2IT Oracle. And I used to use it for my channel all the time. And it was really good because I had a channel for twin flames. Um, what I noticed with the Zodiac 108, and it came in right at a period of time in my life where some of the focus of what I felt I was on mission to do kind of changed. And the energy of the Zodiac 108 started to help me more from I want to say creative expression standpoint, from an understanding of the overall ascension energies of the planet. And so that is one of the things that I see as being the biggest difference between these two decks. It's not that I can't use either deck for those topics, but it's so clear. Like, and I mentioned this in the last video I did. The Zodiac 108 is my go-to deck when I figure out if I'm going to trade cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
I literally get answers as to yes or no. It's either I get the balloons or the airplane, or I get a forked road, or I get
Or a roadblock.
or a roadblock. And those cards just work so well for our everyday creative expression, our work, our anything. I mean, it really does work with anything, even what's going on. And, we've got a fuel crisis going on right now. Well, we could pull cards and ask questions about that and we'd get answers. The
Yeah.
iN2IT Oracle, to me, works really well for relationships, for family, for home life, for community.
And
Um,
spiritual connection,
yup.
higher perspective looks at something. Like if you really want to get like this higher view, then that would be the deck I would reach for.
Right. And so both decks can be used in any situation. But
Right.
what we have found is because we use them so much, it's double the cards. And I've said before that if I had the same backing, I would probably mix them all in together. But I really like having the separate energies. And it's something, decks speak to you and you develop a relationship with this deck and it's going to call to you for what questions to answer. Don't you think so?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've done that, if anybody has tuned into any of our live readings that we've done, we'll say, oh, I'm going to reach for this deck for this reading, or whether it's the Zodiac or the iN2IT Oracle or even the tarot deck. So,
Right.
and that's really what we're wanting to dive into a little bit more. And I just do want to just maybe mention about kind of the construct of this deck,
Yes.
which is, of course, by the name of it, you can tell it has something to do with the Zodiac. So what I did was I took the 12 signs of the Zodiac as suits, and then I put 9 cards in every suit. So then I tried to correlate the number of the energy of numerology of each number with the energy of that particular suit. So, whether that suit is fire, water, earth, or air, or, then further into it, like if it's Aries or look at that. You have Aries and Sagittarius right there, 2 fire signs.
Right.
So
They're both 9s. So
yeah, and they're both 9s. And so because tarot is also based on the zodiac, a lot of people don't really realize how intrinsically based on the zodiac tarot is. And because of that, and also numerology, and because of that, you will definitely find a lot of very similar energies to certain cards, like a 9 of fire. Those 2 cards would be very similar to the 9 of wands. So that would be about, you think of the 9 of wands, the person with all those wands, and they're kind of guarded, right? And then also that stamina of the ballet shoes, that was like hard work and being on your toes, which is kind of that, defensive position, but there was still a little bit more of a different energy behind the 9 of Sagittarius versus not the 9 of Aries. And I had this really great resource that I just stumbled across where I already knew this was the direction I was going to go with the deck. And someone had taken the pains to put together like a table where you had the suits across the top, the numbers down the side, and then they were correlating. They did keywords for every energy of each suit, and then the number that went with it. And we used that for a huge resource. It's kind of a jumping off point in then searching for an item that would represent that particular numerology and the sign, and then go into the energy of it further with different representations. Yeah, the four of Pisces. So again, it's going to correlate to a four of cups in tarot, which that person is, maybe resisting something, but it's also about water. So here we have water. But when the person is kind of resisting, they're also in a place of going within. It gives them that space to go within when they're saying, no, I don't want anything from the outside coming in. I just, want to stay right here in this place. So that was where we got that I'm going deep, diving deep into something. And what was really beautiful about it, because I followed that structure for creating the main body of this deck, it gave this really well balanced, like there's a piece of everything in it. And it's funny, Debbie was a huge contributor. She actually worked with me right alongside of this to create and to think of the objects, and then she really helped me with the keywords. And I remember one point when I was about halfway through, and I think I'd been on some like suit of air for a while, and you're like, I think this deck is getting a little dark and a little heavy. And I said, well, let's just wait until it's all done. We'll see how it turns out in the end. And sure enough, it had like this perfect balance in the end. We didn't even have to change anything, did we?
No, and I was so surprised because you're right. I remember that while we were looking at the different elements, but that's the beauty of this deck, is that it's so rich in balance. It's got everything covered. All
Yeah.
the different elements of Sagittarius, the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, all of those different matched with that energy. I'm a Sagittarius, all with that same energy, but the different aspects of that energy. And when you take all the different signs and then you put all those numbers together, you end up with an incredible balance. One of the things that we did have to do when we went back and refined a little bit, and this is before we came out with the deck, is make sure that there weren't, like, what do you want to say,
Conflicting messages on the same card. And you'll still find a few where you're going to need to use your intuition, and you'll be like, well, if I take this aspect of the card, it's quite different than the other aspect. But I had also, had some cards where I had words on it that almost meant the complete opposite thing. And so I tried to eliminate that, because we did discover, well, there's plenty of cards that say the opposite. So when you get a card that has literally two different opposing viewpoints on one card, it doesn't give you clarity. So I tried to remove as many of those as I could find.
Yeah. I was just going to show just another like great card. Here, let me make sure that this is focused.
There you go.
Like, look at these cards. It's Dear John, and then all of these words are just so like such strong words that represent the energy of that. And what ends up happening with these cards, just like with the iN2IT Oracle, is when you come across any of the cards, words will pop out at you, and you'll know which of those words is applicable to your situation. And that is the beauty of the iN2IT Oracle style of cards that I loved from the very beginning. It absolutely, no doubt, when a word shows up, it pops out.
Yeah.
You'll know.
And sometimes it's only one word, and sometimes it's a whole bunch of words that you'll resonate with. And of course, you can still use your own intuition. You don't have to just be stuck with the words that are on the cards. Those are just supposed to be jumping off points. But I do have to say that there's a little bit of, maybe one aspect of the iN2IT Oracle that makes card reading so easy. You can get a little lazy and just go with the words that are on the cards, but then I still get all of these messages coming in from this overall concept and picture of what's happening with it, just because it really is like, I feel like cards are like an entry point to just kind of letting loose and allowing the flow of something just a little higher than your planetary mind to come through, which of course we understand is like a higher self aspect. And so, yeah, it's been a lot of fun to work with these decks in my own daily life. I've gotten to a point like you where I'm not doing much in the way of relationship readings and things like that. And,
Right.
but they're great for that still. But I've just enjoyed all the more using these cards in a very everyday kind of basis of looking into anything.
Yes.
So just having them handy, I a lot of times don't even have them in the box or just sitting on the desk ready to
Yep.
pick up and grab whenever I want to use them. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so I don't know if we want to maybe start talking a little bit about the bonus cards.
We can. I don't think I have them broken out particularly, but
Well,
you
if
want
you
to
want to
talk
just
about
search for
them?
a few of them, I'll
Sure.
describe what the bonus cards are. So, we have on the front fly of the box, it does show the different bonus cards that are in the deck. So the base set is the 108, and then I added 9 cards that are like a yes, no, they're yes, no, and outcomes cards. And some of them say yes, some say no, some say maybe, 50-50, unchanged or changing. Things are in a state of flux. There's just that a complete span of kind of different possibilities, or it's time. Yeah. And so again, each one of them is represented by this. In those particular ones, I chose a woman who, was something in the picture that represents the energy of that. And then, yeah, a no card there where there's a block and it's like, not right now.
I don't
So
like this card. No,
sometimes I do
sometimes
like
they're
that card.
handy.
Just sometimes you do want to see a no.
Oh, especially if I want to figure out if I want to sell a crypto and this comes out. It's like, okay, nope, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, not right now.
Not right now.
So a person could take all the bonus cards and keep them separate from the deck,
Mhm.
or you could
Mhm.
have them shuffled in. I generally have been leaving mine all shuffled in,
Me too.
but really just however you want it. So uncertain. Yeah.
Yep,
Now the
yep.
next set of bonus cards that I did was people.
Oh,
And then
right.
children. We actually added the 3 children as a bonus during the Kickstarter campaign, a stretch bonus, and they're in there for everyone. So there are 4 people cards, which I decided to just go ahead and put a man and a woman on the card, and for the fire, water, earth, and air. And
Okay.
so, I think in your own situation, you'll just have to kind of, suss out what you feel like that is going to represent in your life a certain person. It can be, whatever gender they might identify with, doesn't matter. Like we're just putting a masculine and feminine energy on there. And
Right.
then I did
Not
3
finding any of them.
children at 3 phases of childhood, from baby to child and then youth. And then I correlated those. So yeah, there's one of the samples of a person
And they're a
card.
person of the different suns, of the different, what would you call that?
Elements.
Elements. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not seeing, I haven't got quick access to all these. We didn't really set that up ahead of time. Sorry.
That's all right. And so the children, I decided to correspond with the modalities, which would be cardinal, mutable, or cardinal, fixed, and then mutable. So cardinal, and it's very interesting. It really fits so well that babies are cardinal. Of course, they're the beginning, and the energy of a baby is very much like a cardinal sign. And
Mhm.
the energy of a toddler is totally fixed. It's hilarious because toddlers are like in
Yeah.
that, or that child, they're very stubborn in that kind of like, phase of their life. And then you've got the
Right.
mutable, which is the youth. And of course, they're changing from being a child to an adult. And so, they have that changeable and that moodiness and everything. So that's on there as well. But then it's really great because those cards can show up they represent actual children at different stages in your deck, or just the energy of that particular phase.
Right.
So that was another set of the bonus cards. And then the another bonus I did, which again has people on it, is seasons and life changes. And it's just 4 cards, those seasons, life changes. And they also show the phases of the moon are the phases of the maiden, the mother, the queen, and the crone. I know a lot of people think of
Got a
that as
couple
just
of them
being
right
3,
here.
but I have also read about putting the queen in there because there really is kind of that stage of life in between motherhood and being a crone, with the wisdom of the crone, which is that, kind of the age, I guess, that a lot of us are coming into right now. There's the queen. And of course, they can be spring, summer, fall, and winter, as well as, those seasons. So I also put the zodiac signs on them and then put a moon symbol for the phase of the moon that they represent.
And timing, there's 6 to 9 months on this
Oh,
one.
right. And they're also timing cards, correct.
Right.
Which also brings out another point, because I
Mhm.
did have someone recently, they've been trying to tell us that they're missing a timing card because they're assuming there should be 9 cards because there are 9 cards in like most of the other suits. But the actual timing cards include the 4 seasons and then I added 4 time frames. So there's only 8 timing cards.
Right.
And they'll have a little clock number in the corner. So they're numbered 1 through 8. And the final after the 4 seasons are the 4 women. And then we have the 4 time frames, which I did, I think, happening now, very soon. Trying to remember off the top of my head. I'm sure that we can find them. Maybe I'll look
card.
for
I
them
think
as well.
I showed that child card earlier in something, either that or I did it in one of my readings. There's
Oh,
the
and
child
here's
card.
another one within a few days.
Right. So you've got just a plethora of different kinds of cards mixed in, if you choose to use it that way, with all these incredible images, like an optical illusion. I mean, boy, when this comes up, you know that whatever situation you're looking at is not what it seems.
Exactly.
So that's why when you're talking about situations, the other thing I love, here's another card that I love, the White Rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that means take a deep dive into things. And I've had this show up for me when it seems like something's coming back into my life that I'm like, oh, why is this coming back? And I'm like, I pull the White Rabbit right away and it's saying, oh, not done with this. We need to take a deeper dive into it.
Yeah.
So it helps you to explain away what's happening to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to say really quickly, we've been this deck, as recording this right now, it just shipped out within the last 2 or 3 weeks. People have been receiving them from the Kickstarter and the pre-orders. And so it's just now in the hands of, a number of hundreds of people. And all of the reviews we've been getting have just been, people are over the moon about this deck.
Absolutely.
In fact, I had one very faithful backer who has backed all my other projects. And he messaged me, he said, Kimberly, this is the very best deck that you have created to date. And he's been reading cards for 40 years and he has a collection of, hundreds of decks of cards. And he said, this is now my favorite deck of any deck I've ever used or owned. And the iN2IT Oracle is just a close second right behind that.
I was going to say, I haven't wanted to make that definitive statement because I am so ever faithful to the iN2IT Oracle, but I've got to tell you guys, the Zodiac 108 is just phenomenal. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to create this video. We know that a lot of you have loved the iN2IT Oracle and that you use it all the time. People are using it on their channels. But a lot of people don't even really know about the Zodiac 108, and it is just getting into everyone's hands. So you're probably going to hear about it. As you're watching, we wanted you to know about this deck now so that if you feel drawn to it, you'll know it's there.
And I do want to just kind of close with saying that both decks are so amazing that if you can possibly, afford to get both at some point, maybe you want to buy one and then the other, or buy them both at the same time, because even though the Zodiac 108 is like possibly my favorite of the two, it is so close to 50-50 for me. I can't even, sometimes I'm just like, I don't even know. But they're different. And so even though you can ask any question of either deck, and they're right, if you're going to just buy a new deck, buy at least one of them, one or the other. But if you're trying to decide which one to use, I would lean toward the iN2IT Oracle. If you're really more wanting to dive into deeper spiritual issues, interrelationship issues with people, whether it's a lover type of relationship or just family, but very interpersonal. But I would say things more to do with spirit and more with that, less concrete. So it would be kind of like, any like water and air, not air signs.
Esoteric is what I'm getting. Esoteric. Esoteric is coming to me. The Zodiac 108 is tangible, real world stuff.
Right.
Like,
very
hello, there's
grounded,
an
very
airplane.
earthy.
They're traveling. They're on an airplane. Like, you get distinct messages like that, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you can still ask any question of either deck. You can totally use the Z108 for spiritual questions and for relationships questions, but these,
Right.
the two decks, that's where they excel. And what's so amazing to me is that when I created this second deck, I had no idea how that was going to play out,
Right.
which, kind of fit
It's
that, the
channeled.
Zodiac would be compared to the Intuit Oracle. So
All
it's
I
really
can
neat that
say
it
is,
fell out that way.
she channels her decks. And I was just saying that earlier. That is her gift. She channels this stuff. And you guys, these things are spooky accurate, absolutely spooky accurate. So we hope you will take a look at the Z108 if you have not looked at it, or if you do know about the Z108, take a look at the Intuit Oracle. Hopefully you will find both of them as tools in your toolbox. Also, before we wrap up, this is our latest deck that is in print right now. This is the Twin Flame Oracle, and this is all about messages from your twin or your higher self. I use it all the time for higher self messages. And when we realize that everyone in our life reflects us, these are perfect cards for relationship-oriented questions. Or if you desire a message from someone you're not in contact with, it's on pre-sale now, but it will be, we're hoping it's going to be shipping in June, right, Kimberly?
Yeah, June or maybe July. It was slated for August, so we're definitely ahead of schedule right now. I don't want to make big promises, but I will say that that we do expect it to ship early.
Right. And of course, we also have the Controversy Tarot, and this is my deck that has keywords. So if you don't know about the keywords deck, you'll want to go ahead and check that out on our store. So is there anything you wanted to say before we wrap up? I'm going to go ahead and come back on.
No, that's all. I just want to thank everybody, all of our backers, people who have already bought any of our decks so far. Thank you so much. And for those who are just brand new to the Intuit family of oracles and tarot cards, we're creating more. I have a deck already complete that just needs a little more work before we'll be launching that one.
Right.
I've got another one I'm just starting to work on. It's going to be amazing.
You guys are gonna love this.
And then our friend that we collaborated with to do the Twin Flame Oracle, Marla Kelly, is working on. She's halfway through the content for her second deck that we'll also be publishing. So lots more to come. Stick around. Also hit the notification bell so that whenever we're doing, any introductions of new products or Kickstarters or any kind of readings. And sometimes we even pop on here and do a live reading. You'll actually be able to just, if you're here live, you'll be able to get a free reading from us. So yeah, just be sure to join our family.
Well, and we're also going to be having contests, product giveaway. So it's a good idea if you enjoy our products to go ahead and make sure you become part of our family on YouTube. So, all right. Well, thanks for your time, guys. And if you have any questions for us at all, please put them in the comments below. We will be watching and we will answer you. All right. Everybody have a good day. Bye.
Enter the Zodiac 108. The newest addition to the iN2IT family of oracle and tarot cards, where spiritual and occult practices combined with scientific and technological developments, resulting in a deck that can invoke an unlimited number of concepts and ideas. This oracle offers 108 object-based images to access the subconscious mind, which sends images back via an emotional signal to a verbal cue, which is understood by your rational mind. For greater clarity and understanding, it offers a lexicon of more than 2,500 verbal words or phrases to pique your inner knowing, thereby opening clear communication between your subconscious and spiritual world with your conscious verbal mind. The iN2IT Oracle Zodiac 108 gives voice to your intuition and inner knowing by filtering out the noise of conflicting emotions that would normally cloud self-understanding. And it is an effective tool that anyone can use to gain insights that will provide the information needed to make decisions, achieve goals, and obtain desired outcomes.